Hey, Fresh Coast, Jeremy here. Today, I'm bringing you a how to paint video. This is part of our Gates of Antares initiative, and as part of this video, we're going to teach you how to paint this Ghar Battlesuit that I'm currently displaying here. For our project, we're doing a ice planet developed by none other than Rick Priestley himself, and we're going to have a lot of white and blue on our board. And I wanted to paint something contrasting to white and blue, and I thought to myself, well, let's do something orange. I've never painted anything orange before, so this little guy right here I'm showing off in this video, we're gonna paint this guy. It's fairly easy, and we'll walk you through the steps. This here is just a little view of my workstation. As always, if you're painting with an airbrush, be sure to use a filtered mask. Not using a mask can have some serious consequences, including cancer in your nose region. Just, trust me, you guys don't want that. So what I'm going to do here is I start out with black. Not everyone likes priming with black, but I do. I like the shadows that it gives. It may not be the crisp or most clean look, but it's an easy way to start a foundation to give depth by building up from a dark color, so you already have those shadows underneath. So we're just going to put on some primer here. If you haven't noticed, I sped the video up a little bit. The total run time without speeding it up and cutting the video was like 42 minutes. Now I wouldn't expect you guys to take that long to paint one of these models individually. Just what I did demoing the project. Alright, so we're finishing priming this black, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to do zenithal highlights with gray. The objective that we're going to do is we're going to build up our pre-shading in grayscale, because we're going to apply the colors using tints or thin down paints. In this case, I'm using Badger Ghost Tint line. You can see here through the demonstration, just sort of using that airbrush to bring out the raised areas using gray. Real quick, it's really important when you're applying it to apply it from certain angles so you create shadows. You don't want to fill crevices and cracks. You want to leave that lip so it creates depth and shadow. So the next application to our grayscale shading is going to be white. We're going to use this very sparsely, but the white's going to be the brightest parts of the model. Right here I'm using a 2mm airbrush. It's a Grex Neo. I use it for all my detail work. Any mistakes you make, it's fairly easy to correct. You can always go back over with another color to correct it. You could even try drowning that area out. I think I do that in an example here. So this is the miniature. This is Badger airbrush paint. This is the Ghost Tint formula, As you can see right there, that one's fresh blood. So using those tints, I've created a orange color by mixing red and yellow tints. And what we're going to do is we're going to put layers of these tints on. There's my mixture. We're going to put layers upon layers on until you get the rich depth of color that you want. This stuff applies very watery. You can be pretty liberal with it, but you want to be careful that you don't make it run as you're applying it. The first couple of applications on the model, the color won't be quite what you expect it to be. It takes a little bit of patience and quite a few layers to get the color that you desire. Using those tint lines, you can also apply different layers of different colors sometimes, maybe to correct where you're going. You can see right here, and this model is starting to appear a bit orange. I'm using usually I crank up the air pretty well, like a pretty high PSI. Just kind of slaver it all over. Oh boy, I can't talk today. But anyways, here's the finished Ghar models. They come out really shiny. It's not really a desired look. So to correct that and to fill in all the cracks, we're going to give it a good wash using some Citadel paint here. This is the good old Argrix Earthshade, which I think I use about 95% of the time. It just goes good with about every color, in my opinion. I don't know why. I mean, it's brown. You wouldn't think that brown goes well, but... So, this is the model washed. I kind of skipped forward a little bit, but right now I'm just going through and adding some details. Picking out the black portions, and paint the eyes green. If you don't use a wet palette like the one you see in the background there, I highly recommend it. Keeps your paints wet for long periods of time. If you're doing any blending, it's wonderful for that. You can put a couple dabs of paint on it, mix it on the palette. It waters it down for you. Really good for applying layers, which you won't see any in this video, but maybe in the future. This video right here, we're just doing straight black color. And a little bit of the details. All right, so this next demonstration is how I cheat creating a Metallica look on the model. Most people tell you to apply like a base color of silver and then put the color on top. And that definitely works really quite well. But what I'm doing here is, well, I'm cheating actually. What I'm doing is I'm applying a dry brushing of silver over the finished model. This is going to do a couple things for us. This is going to create us a metallic look, and it's also going to weather it a bit, create some highlights on the black portions of the model. This is my dirty little secret for creating a metallic look. It's really easy. It's really important when you do a dry brush that you don't use very much of the silver at all. You really want to wipe almost all of it off on a paper towel or towel before applying it, and gently stroke it over it. There you go. You can see my dirty, cheated model. It looks really neat, I think. Maybe that's patting myself on the back too much. But there you go. That is, what color is that? Lead Belcher. Yeah, Lead Belcher by Citadel. Alright, there we go. What's next? Well, what's next is putting highlights. I had a difficult time actually figuring out what color I wanted to do highlights for on an orange model. And I ended up choosing a flesh color, believe it or not. And I thought it turned out really well. Highlighting is one of those things that such a tedious part of the modeling process, but boy, if you do it really well, it gives you that nice, like, heavy metal look. If you have a model with lots of edges, like solid 90-degree edges, like vehicles and tanks, tips that you can do is you can just use the side of the brush to edge highlight as opposed to the tip. And you may see me wipe off my mistakes with my fingertip, which is something you can do too as well. Do apologize about some of the blurriness of this photo. This is the first time I've actually made a painting tutorial. So as you're watching this and you have any comments about things that you'd like to see better, and you can be constructive but not mean, well, shoot, you can be mean too, I don't care. Let me know what you think, and I'll try to apply those lessons learned to my next one. And the next phase of the project is the glow effects, which are incredibly easy and look really good on any model. I'm just going to do it 2 tones. I'm going to start out with a light blue application through the airbrush, and then a tad bit of white as demonstrated by this demo model to create that kind of like blue reactor type look. For this, I'm using my 0.2 airbrush, low volume of air, probably around 10, 12 psi. All really depends on the mixture of the paint. These are all airbrush paints, so no mixing necessary. I used to mix my own paints, water them down. That got annoying, so I just started spending money on airbrush paints, and it makes your life a lot easier. Of course, if you're like me, it sort of just doubles the line of paints you have, and makes your wife shake her head at your collection you have. Now what you see here is I've made a mistake. I sprayed way too much blue, got a little out of control on the leg there. And what I'm doing to fix that mistake is I take a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and if you're really quick about it, you can get that off. You have to be careful not to apply too much pressure, or fear of removing your other layers of paint. But if they're nice and set in between layers, you'll probably get away with that fairly well. So in this case I did, so all about timing. Okay, and the model's just sitting here. Maybe I need to edit this a little more. So I forgot a little bit on the test subject. Went back and fixed that. All right, let's see, what are we doing here? Is it white? No, not yet. Almost. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take an intermission here, and we're going to talk about bases. I know, what a surprise. I, because of this ice planet, wanted to do a cracked ice theme. So I got some crackling paint, got it off Amazon. I wish I could tell you more about it, but I did a little test run on it and it turned out pretty well. So all these bases I just pre-airbrush painted with a nice light blue. What we're going to do is put a really liberal application of this crackle paint on here and basically wait. I wish I could take credit for this, but nowhere near the first person to do this or invent this process. If I can find the YouTube video I watched and got this idea to do this from, I'll try to give credit to it in the comment section. Here I put it on with a brush. It was very tedious. You know what, actually I wish I had taken a video of it, but I ended up watering it down and putting it in a dropper bottle, as you've seen earlier, and then just pour it all over the base and then rotate it around like it was some sort of game to fill in the edges, and that worked a lot better than painting it with a brush. So, something to think about when you guys are doing your own ice bases, because you love the way this one looks so much, is yeah, just water it down and pour it on and swoosh it around, and it'll go a lot quicker. In fact, I think I did the other 6 of these in the same time it took me to do this single one. Alright, so this is the finished base. It's really quite nice, really easy to do. You can separate the cracks out a little bit by taking a dry brush and pushing it around. Most people, I think, would probably pin their models to affix it to this base. I, on the other hand, kind of lazy, so I just clear coated it and then super glued my model to the base. Not a fan of pinning, although, I mean, I should be. I guess I'm too lazy for it. But, alright, so this has been my Ghar Battlesuit painting tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave us a comment and follow us in our future Gates of Antares initiative project that we're doing for Warlord Games. And enjoy your games. Jeremy out.